Hello. It's been a while since I've made a video, and that's cool. But I just wanted to share this quick video, kind of like a little life update. I'm going to make it brief. I am in beautiful Mexico. I would be walking on the beach right now, but honestly, well, actually today it's pretty calm. Real quick, yesterday we met a lovely, lovely family of former Jehovah's Witnesses from Canada who have relocated to Mexico. We're in Puerto Vallarta. They live in a little town outside of Puerto Vallarta. And this lovely, dear woman, Laurel, that's her name, she said that we honestly wanted to do a little walk and talk interview yesterday. We went to this private secluded beach outside of on Playa Nayarit. But the waves were so huge and it was so noisy, and I don't have audio or video equipment that can tolerate that type of outside noise, so it just didn't work. But I wanted to just say that it was absolutely incredible and lovely meeting Laurel and her family and exchanging war stories, and just like the therapeutic catharsis of knowing that you're not alone, you're not crazy, and the research never stops. And being about 4 years out of Watchtower now and moving into other areas of researching, her and I were on very similar legs of our journey, having gone beyond things just Watchtower, which is one of the big reasons why I don't really make videos anymore. Initially, I had titled my channel, well, it still is this title, Allie's Big Toe, Theory of Everything, because I thought when I started making videos, I was going to talk about all different things, and then COVID happened, and I went on a research binge about that situation, and many of the people who have alternative perspectives on what has been happening in the world wide for the last 2 years, they get censored, just like people who don't subscribe to the Watchtower narrative get censored. Yes. All right. Speaking of specific narratives that one thinks is the truth, and if you've been watching my videos for any length of time, perhaps you joined me for a leg of my personal journey, which I call my Trinitarian phase. And this segment of this video is absolutely not to, how do I want to word this? Definitely not to put down people who understand God as a triune, three-in-one God, three persons, one nature. I know that people who haven't really done the whole deep dive of exploring what the Trinity is and means to people who get into all the creeds. I was never a modalist. I understood the difference between being a Trinitarian and a modalist. A lot of people who were still, I guess, plugged into the JW understanding of who God is. Jehovah's Witnesses are basically Arians, if we're to like boil it down and put it into one subcategory, meaning that Jehovah's Witnesses believe that Jesus had a pre-human existence, was born a human, but was still, I guess, somehow divine, and died and was resurrected. I'm not exactly sure if Jehovah's Witnesses believe in like the bodily resurrection of Jesus. Anyway, I do find it interesting to kind of nerd out on all of this stuff, but because I have leaky brain syndrome, that's not a real thing, but maybe it is. Leaky gut syndrome certainly is. I probably have that too, but yeah, leaky brain syndrome. It's like I'll binge and research and I don't take notes. I'm not a very diligent, good student because I'll like just binge on it and then I forget a lot of what I've just researched. So I need to go back and refamiliarize myself with all of the specific terms. But the reason why I'm sharing this right now, especially if so here's my hypothesis. My hypothesis is that Jehovah's Witnesses burgeoned and flourished in the 50s, 60s, and early 70s, in part due to their eschatology and doomsday fear-mongering-ishness of the end is coming, and if you want to be saved at Armageddon, follow us because we're in the right line. But I also think a lot of sincere, truth-seeking Christians who loved God and loved their Bible, yet perhaps maybe felt overwhelmed with Bible reading. If you're wondering where I am, I'm on my balcony, just because I believe in having a nice, here, let's go this way, a nice background. If we're not walking, at least something nice to look at. That a lot of people, whether they were already Christians or just curious about life and all of the questions we ask about life, because that's one of the ways like Jehovah's Witnesses initially get you, especially with their snappy little intro videos, is, have you ever wondered, why are we here? How did we get here? Where do we go when we die? You know, like those kind of questions. And obviously I wasn't alive in the 50s and 60s, but what I'm noticing when I go to church now is that there are some churches where pastors give a thematical sermon on a certain topic, and then there are some pastors who really go through the Bible, exegetically, and go verse by verse, and they don't zoom around the entire Bible, just picking a verse here and a verse there to support the theme of the day. And when you read the Bible that way, number one, it takes a lot of time. You're not going to get all your answers in a 1-minute TikTok soundbite, you know? And so I'm wondering if when Jehovah's Witnesses were knocking on people's doors in the 50s and 60s, and they knocked on the door of a Christian who would go to church and they would listen to the same liturgy week after week, half of which was perhaps even in Latin, and they didn't have the answers to these questions the witnesses would pose, and that was the bait, and then there was the hook, and then the switch, which happens like 2 years into it when you're already like baptized and sucked in. So where am I going with this? That I think maybe one of the reasons why Jehovah's Witnesses were as successful as they were in those decades is because they were not Trinitarian. My own journey from being a Jehovah's Witness to then understanding God for those years as a Trinity, because I did, and now I don't anymore, although there's still that like 5% of me, or maybe even more, 10% of me. We're going whale watching in 20 minutes, so I'm just trying to make this video real quick before we get down and get on our boat. Maybe I'll include a clip of the whales. It's January 2022 here in Mexico, and it's baby humpback season. They come in this big bay, the Bay of Banderas, and they have their babies because they're protected from sharks, and the mamas have their babies, and then after I don't even know how many months, but then they make their whole journey up to Alaska. It's amazing. I never get sick of seeing whales, ever. What was I saying? So Jehovah's Witnesses knocked on these people's doors, and they recently did a poll. It was like, I think in 2019, where they polled thousands of Christians and asked them basically to explain the Trinity, and it was like a huge percentage, something like 78% of them. And I'm gonna post the link to this because I'm probably misquoting it, and I don't want to do that, but I'm not very prepared right now. Something like 78% of Christians could not explain their own belief of the Trinity. And how true is it of probably most, if not all of us, that we just go through life kind of just regurgitating what we heard or were taught about a certain subject, and to actually go back and fact check ourselves. So the reason why I'm making this video is because this morning I was listening to a podcast. It's there's 44 episodes to date. I think it's only been around for about a year. It's called the Unitarian Christian Alliance, UCA. And it's a, I hate using this word, organization. It's not really, I don't know. It's organized. There's I'm so careful to never ever follow any man or woman or human and their theology. Like, I just don't want to follow another person ever again. But yet I want to learn from other people, and you learn from other people by listening to them. So I've really been enjoying listening to this podcast over the last year. Mostly it's interviews with other people, so you're hearing other people's stories, but it's from a variety of backgrounds. People who came out of oneness Pentecostalism, people who came out of, I think there was one guy in there who was like a Mormon. They just recently interviewed Lorraine, my dear friend. Hi, Mom. She's next door. Here, look at this. Mom, say hi.
Good morning, friends. I don't know what else to say. It's great here.
Oh, I know you missed her. I'll get her back on here. Anyway, the episode number 43, I think his name is Sean Finnegan. He said, and I love this quote, "Let doubt be your slave. Let doubt be your servant." In other words, let your doubts, like, serve them when they come up. Don't repress them. Don't sweep them under the rug. Investigate. And of course, the quote that so many of us love, truth can withstand scrutiny. So when it comes to the topic of, it can be a pretty divisive topic, especially in certain, ex-JW Zoom groups who still enjoy doing Bible study. You get like a charismatic or seemingly more intelligent, not even seemingly, a more intelligent, good speaker who is able to talk very fluently, and all of a sudden you find yourself being like, well, again, just like we did when we were Jehovah's Witnesses with the governing body, I guess they're smarter than I am. I guess they have more Holy Spirit than I do. So I guess I'm just going to like put this on this shelf and listen to them. It's like, no. And so can we all just sit at the same table and not use the A word or the H word, apostate or heretic, and listen to each other and not have to adopt or agree with someone else's belief without condemning that person to hell or dying at Armageddon? I'm an idealist. I like to think that we could all do that. I am seeing more and more that we can't, and this is why there are so many splinter groups, and that's okay, because I'm just going to keep walking on the beach and making new friends. That's my video for today. I'm going to post the link below to this podcast and a group, because if you are perhaps a current Jehovah's Witness who you don't want to explore other churches because the majority of them are Trinitarian, but you also don't want to follow a governing body, perhaps you've really gotten into Romans chapter 8, where it is God's personal invitation for you to be adopted as his son or daughter. And you've listened to Jesus' words where he's said, do this in remembrance of me. Drink the wine, eat the bread. But Jehovah's Witnesses tell you that if you do that, you might be crazy. If you're someone like that and you want to perhaps fellowship with other people who are, quote, biblical Unitarians, I really recommend this as a resource. So that's my little video for this morning. We're gonna go watch some whales. I hope you're having a great day. Signing off for now, and shalom. Ciao. Whoops, of course I forgot to say one of the things I really wanted to say in that last video clip is 2 channels that are semi-newish that I enjoy listening to when I'm cooking or doing something where I want to listen to something in the background is Christiane. She really compiles very good videos. And Wendy Renee, she definitely excels at interviewing people. I love her slogan for her channel, devout, emphasis on the word out, and how by hearing other people's stories, we not only find ourselves, but we grow as people. So I just wanted to add that clip. So just waiting for our boat to go see some whales, and have a great day.
If you guys pay attention, it is with the face up and slapping both things around.
There.
There's another one there. Oh, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah.